All right. Hi, it's Louisa with Spectrum Realty Services, and today I have the pleasure of speaking with Mike Wallace from Credit Coalition. So I'm going to let Mike explain what Credit Coalition is all about.
Hello, thank you, Louisa, for allowing me to do this. I'm a newer in business, or newish in business, last 2.5 years. So at Credit Coalition, what we offer is equipment financing solutions for businesses, or hard asset lending solutions.
Okay.
So very similar to a mortgage broker who finds money for people who want to buy a house. I find money for people in business who need to buy assets for their business. So traditionally my clients that I work with are clients who have gone to their bank and their bank has said, you know what, we can't help you.
Right.
For whatever reason, whether it's a credit issue, whether it is an exposure issue, meaning they already lend them money and they're not willing to lend them anymore. It could be a number of different things. I work with a number of different lending companies to deal with the full spectrum of credit, meaning, from your bankable type client. So I can compete with your, top 5 banks.
The banks, great.
And the credit unions.
Good.
And whoever. And then all the way up and down the line, depending on which way you look at how the credit spectrum would work. So meaning bankable all the way up to, what we would consider subprime.
Right.
So damaged credit, bruised credit, past bankruptcies, that sort of thing. New owner operators as well.
That's right.
Is a group of business owners that I can help, which is very important because, I started as a new owner operator, and I love, that's actually one of the things, the group of clients that I love working with. And again, a full spectrum of lending channels, as well as a full spectrum of asset classes. So Credit Coalition, in my background, it comes from more the lending in the transportation and construction space, but I can also help in manufacturing, vocational trucking, so dump trucks, tow trucks,
Right.
That sort of thing, landscape equipment, manufacturing equipment, golf course equipment.
I think you said restaurant equipment one time too, right? Or like just to name one of the areas.
Yeah, restaurant equipment as well. Really, the simplest way to understand what I can lend on is if it generates revenue for a business, then there's an opportunity to borrow money against that asset. So it has to be business related.
Right.
Right? I don't typically offer funding solutions for consumers. It has to be a business related asset purchase.
Okay. All right. And I think it's not just purchases, but it's leasing too, right?
Yes, leasing solutions for their purchases that they are making.
Okay. So is it like a lease to own?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I remember because we talked about leasing and owning before, and I didn't realize it's actually a lease to own kind of model.
Typically, a lot of the structures that we work with or that we offer to our clients through our lending partners are what we call nominal lends. So at the end of the terms, right? Some lenders offer at $10, some lenders $250, some lenders $500, but it's still considered a nominal lend lease. We can offer purchase options as well, right? Because then there's tax advantages to having that purchase option based on how your accountant is going to account for that lease or that finance contract, whether it's on balance sheet or whether it's on their as a direct expense on their income statement. So, I usually defer any questions with regards to accounting because I'm not an accountant. I usually defer to I usually ask the client to defer to their accountant, but that's sort of a high level look at the various types of contracts that can be offered.
So, how long have you been in the industry for?
It's 21st, going into my 21st year now.
Okay.
I started, and I have been on the brokerage side my whole entire career. So I worked prior for 3 separate brokerage companies until I, made the leap of going into this entrepreneurial ring and decided to open up my own shop.
So that's where you've been at it for, as you mentioned, for 2.5 years, and you have a team with you?
I do, yeah. It's been slowly growing, and so I've got myself, who I sort of handle the operations side as well
Okay.
as do sales. I have a sales rep out in Alberta, and then I also recently took on a business development person based out of Kitchener. It's been 2.5 years, and each year that we've been in business, we obviously have to set goals, and we don't hit and achieve every single goal, but we have experienced growth in the business.
Of course, that
yeah.
happens with any business. Yeah.
Absolutely. And you know what? It may not be necessarily the monetary growth all the time, but the operations side has grown, which is because without that, obviously, a
There's
deal.
no future.
Absolutely, and you can't process deals, so it's very important to get that in place. And we've been fortunate to build that out, which is fantastic. And now it's now we're starting to see really nice flow from our origination channels and from all types of sources. So it's been it's been a really exciting start to the year. So
That's excellent. So that was one of my questions. Is you're not just regional, you go across Canada.
I do, yes. I offer my services right across Canada, coast to coast, and then I can also help with clients or vendors who want to sell, equipment vendors who want to sell into the US as well. So I'll work with vendors who sell equipment to offer their leasing services.
Okay.
Yeah, so I become a partner of sorts to them, right? So when they get a client in the door who can't afford to pay cash for equipment, a truck or trailer or whatever it is, or may not have a funding channel yet, I work with those lending partners to be that source that can offer the lending. Typically on a single purchase, I'm usually in around that $5,000 minimum, and then up from there, really sky's the limit. We have funding capability into the tens of millions of dollars if required.
Okay.
Through our lending sources. So.
Okay. So.
And everything in between, of course. Like it's.
Yeah. No, for sure. So tell me some of your success stories, the moments that made you proud because you were able to help somebody.
Yeah, you know what? I think I touched on it with regards to the new owner-operator stuff. Because my core business is that to take a trucking company as an example, that 1 to 5 truck owner-operator, so small business owner-operator in the industry. I've helped countless people get their first truck. And now they're on to 2, 3, 4, 5, 10. That is a really great feeling to know that I played a small little part in helping them grow their business as they've done with me. So it's that's probably the best feeling. There's a lot of really I'm a credit writer, operations and mostly credit related. So getting a transaction from somebody where 4 people have said no, and then I've been able to go at it and look at it from maybe just a different lens, so to speak, and strip apart, the deal and put it back together, and then actually find an approval for a client. That's over and above the monetary, stuff is really, that makes me proud, and it's a good feeling to be able to do that. So,
it's quite the accomplishment to be able to do something that other people say couldn't be done, so to speak, right?
That's exactly it, and it's very important to me to be able to do that. And my approach, I've always had a very honest, full, transparent approach to what I do. My lending partners and clients can attest to that, and it's just the only way to do it. You explain the good, bad, and the ugly to whoever it is that you are talking to, funder wise, and you work with them to come up with the best solution for the client. So
I'm all about going into a transaction with eyes wide open, right? You've got to explain the situation and what may or may not transpire, just so that everybody, there's no surprises, and I think that's really important when you kind of go in with that headspace. People appreciate it.
Yeah.
And so good for you.
Yeah.
I think
thank you.
I think that's wonderful.
Yeah. It's about just being true and honest and being able to sleep at night and and all that good stuff.
Oh,
so
that's really important.
you know, yes.
Having a conscience.
That's right.
I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
for sure.
So you are a resident here in Weston?
I am, yes. I've been, my wife and I moved here in 2008.
Okay.
We are on our second house in Weston, which is great. So we decided we wanted to stay and loved it so much. Our kids went to school in the neighborhood and have friends in the neighborhood, and you know, it's just such a it's a great neighborhood. It's still, in my opinion, undiscovered in a way.
It is.
It's what's the word I'm looking for? It's not underappreciated, I think. You know, they're beautiful lots and old trees, and you know, in the summer and even in the fall, it's a gorgeous neighborhood. So
the neighborhood's 200 years old, so there's a lot of history to it, and like you said, there's been a lot of maturity that has happened over that period of time. So it is a great place to live. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
And Mike will have all his contact points in his available to anyone that's looking to connect with Mike. And so thank you so much again for your time. It's been a pleasure.
Well, thank you, Louisa. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no
Thank
worries.
you.
Thank you.